Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you guys are having an absolutely great day. So, people are always asking me why I never make Easter egg tutorials. I'm always hunting, I'm always helping out a lot, always figuring a lot of things, helping people get through Easter eggs, but why do I never make my own tutorials? Well, for me personally, I just don't want to sit there and make the same content that I know a lot of other people do and they do it really great with. So if I was going to do it, I want to do it in my own different way that isn't really done that often. So, starting with the Darkest Shore, and we're going to be trying this out, for every Easter egg from here on out, I'm going to be trying to make an Easter egg guide that is focused for the solo player, giving my tips, my opinions, things that I do to make the Easter eggs easier for me solo, and make guides based around that. So if you guys like the idea, let me know. Let me know how the guide is, if it helps you out, if it doesn't, what you think I could improve on with it, and let me know, because this will be a learning experience for me. But let's go ahead and jump into it, and let me try to help you out the best to complete the Darkest Shore Easter egg solo. So the first thing we need to look at is setup. What is the best class, weapon loadout, consumables to take in for completing this Easter egg? So let's start with the loadouts, and there's two classes / builds that I would recommend doing. The first one I would recommend would be using Frontline with Specialist Training, Determination, and Vicious. And the reason I choose this one over the one I'm about to tell you is every time you activate this Frontline, you get 2 points of armor back, which for the boss fight is really nice. The other loadout that is just as well, but not as well in my opinion, would be Shell Shock with Specialist Training, Sustain Zone, and Exploit Weakness. For the weapon that I would put on each of these classes, I would say the M1911, because the bacon and eggs, it's still one of the best weapons in the game. There's no getting around it, and it's great for taking out the ads and the extra zombies while you're trying to take down the super moishless. Now for the consumables that you're going to want to take in, I would personally recommend Max Ammos and Uberladens. If you don't have one of those things, substitute one of them for insta-kills. They are just as nice as either of those. Something else to take note of is to do your best to have self-revive consumables as well before you enter the boss fight. Sadly, the U-boat section is terribly balanced, and even being able to optimize the other 3 sections of the boss fight, you're almost always guaranteed to take one down in solo going through the U-boat section. That's enough of the setup and everything though. Let's go ahead and let's get into the map and let me dissect through my strategy, and hopefully it will help you out again for completing this Easter egg. So to start out, stay on the spawn beach / spawn room, however you want to call it. Stay there until the end of round 4. Get about 2 zombies left, and then once you have 2 zombies left, you'll probably have about 9,000 to 10,000 points. Then make your way all the way over to where the first power switch is and where you actually pick up the ripsaw. As you're going through here, make sure that you're also blowing open all the colored panels for the pest step later on. Once you get the first power switch on, I then go by the M1928, and then I earn at least 6,500 points. From this point in the map, 6,500 points is the exact amount that you need to open the doors going to the artillery cannon, and then also to be able to purchase a ripsaw at the same time. So collect the 6,500 points, then I go past Shield Blitz or Electric Cherry. I pick up the radio part next to the dead soldier, pick up the other the ripsaw piece in one of the 3 spawn locations in the artillery bunker, turn on power, and then go back to the ripsaw table, build it, and then collect it. Obviously at this point, the next thing you want to focus on is getting the charged zombie spine. And one question that I get a lot, and I figure I'll go ahead and clear this up now, is it doesn't have to be only a regular zombie charged spine that goes into the ripsaw. You can use a pest spine if you are on round 5 and get a pest spine. It does work. It's okay to do that. So even if you get to the pest round before you get a charged spine, still do your best to get a charged spine. So obviously, once you do get a charged spine, you then place it in the ripsaw, and then it becomes a cell box to which you need to power it up. By the time that you have powered up the ripsaw, you should have just enough points to then buy the door by Pack-a-Punch to get Kugel Blitz, also have armor at the same time, and purchase the then second upgraded version of the ripsaw to where you can shoot down the head to put it on the corpse gate. Now, I just want to extra emphasize that, especially for solo, before you start the corpse gate sequence with the fire and everything, Make sure you have at least Kugelblitz, because it can get a little bit hectic sometimes, so you're gonna want that double damage. Now let's go ahead and start the corpse gate sequence. And if you don't know how this works, there are 3 valves around this little arena that you're in. And there's going to be fire that is popping up on the floor. And by the way, to avoid this fire, or to tell where it's going to come up, the floor will start glowing red to where it's about to have fire rise up. So just don't be standing on those squares and you'll be completely fine. So you just keep surviving until you turn off those 3 valves. And you know which valve is ready to be turned whenever you hear like a hissing sound, like a gas releasing from a valve. So you do those 3 things, open up the corpse gate, kill the Brenner that spawns in, which I would recommend using Frontline for this because that makes it a lot easier. And then we can move on to the next step for the Easter egg. Make your way to the artillery bunker and go to the flat cannon that is closest to the actual artillery gun. And on your way up, you're going to have the planes flying around, so make sure the planes don't down you. But also at the same time, go ahead and pick up Schnellblitz and Laufenblitz, or aka Speed Cola and Stamina Up, before you do this, just because it's convenient and it's on the way. But you get in the flat cannon because now obviously what you need to do is you have to shoot down all the planes that are attacking you. The reason that we choose this flat cannon is because, 1, it's just convenient. You have great angles at all the directions that the planes fly in. And 2, since there is that rock that is directly in front of the gun that you have to shoot for one of these Sons of Laertes, it makes it convenient and you can just save points by only having to get on one flat cannon. So whenever the planes come in, just shoot them, destroy them all, and you'll know you'll have shot enough planes because from this flat cannon, a singular plane will fly in on the coast side, and once you destroy that, then you are done with the airplane section. Our focus now is that we are going to get Pack-a-Punch open, and we are going to get the other Sons of Laertes spawned into the map. So what you make sure that you do is you save 1 or 2 zombies at the end of the round so you can run around safely and get some of this stuff done. Head over to the minecart location near Kugelblitz and the Pack-a-Punch. You're going to want to make sure that it is set to go to the beach and then ride it. And as you're riding it, you're going to want to collect the Pack-a-Punch piece that's going to be on the left side. But at the same time, do not kill the bombers. Just let them explode naturally. It gives you the highest probability chance of the bombs actually exploding to open the Easter egg room. Because at the same time as riding this minecart, you're going to want to try to go into this room at the same time so you can get the monk's head. Once you get the monk's head, leave, go back to the beach, and then from the beach, you're going to want to go to the U-boat room, and the Pack-a-Punch piece will be on the left side of the minecart ride. From the U-boat room, you are going to want to go back up to where Pack-a-Punch is, and also the Pack-a-Punch piece will be on the left side again. So now that you have all the Pack-a-Punch fuses, go ahead up the Pack-a-Punch, put all of the fuses in, and you should have enough points also by this point in time to go ahead and Pack-a-Punch your M1911s to get your bacon and eggs. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and get the other Sons of Laertes spawned into the map. So we've already shot the rock down by the flat cannon, and that Son of Laertes always lands on the beach. The next one, there's I believe 9 rock locations all around on the coast side that you have to shoot with the ripsaw, and then out of one of these, it will be a different rock every time the Son of Laertes will fall. I'll be showing all the different rock locations on screen just in case you don't know where they're all at. But again, it will spawn in a different one each time. What I recommend doing is once you find the one that it falls down, just pick it up, run the Son of Laertes down to the beach where the other one is, and just drop it off there until a later time. One other thing you can do at this time is, as you are running around checking on the rock locations, go ahead and shoot the crashed pilot that is on the cliffside to go ahead and collect the radio that is above Schildblitz, or / Electric Cherry, in case you don't know. However, do not activate the radio yet. You do not want to do this before you do the artillery bomber escort, or else it can be a little bit more painful if you aren't fully prepared. Now for the third Son of Laertes, we're going to put that on hold for a second. It's a bit wiser to go ahead and move your artillery bomber up to the artillery cannon, and this again is why we go ahead and Pack-a-Punch our bacon and eggs. So if you don't know what to do for this, go ahead down to the corpse gate, and on the right side you're going to see a console. go ahead and activate it, and it will spawn in the friendly artillery bomber loader dude person thing, and you escort it all the way up to the cannon. Once it puts the battery in there, go ahead and fill up the battery some, charge it up, because you're going to want about probably 3 or 4 shots to be safe whenever it comes to shooting the warships section. With that done, now we want to focus on getting that red spine, so that way we can get the third Son of Laertes. This should be your entire next focus of what to do, because you can't really progress too much in terms of keeping the rounds as low as possible, which will make this all easier for the boss fight unless you do this. So try to get that red spawn as fast as you can. And obviously, once you do it, go back down to the corpse gate, and on the console on the left, place the monk head down first, and then hold square again, and then it will then place down that spine into that little bucket where the skulls are at, and it will spawn in a zombie that will go and grab the third Son of Laertes for you and place it on the beach. With all 3 sons now spawned on the beach, go ahead and place 2 of them into the actual sacrificial room door, so that way we can be prepared for the first spine ritual. Do not place all 3 in the door yet. We're going to place the third son right before we do the first spine ritual, and you'll see why when we get to that point. Now, at this point in your game, you kind of have to start analyzing and making a few decisions for yourself, because you can do these spine challenges in any order, and then we also still have the U-boat that you can do at any point in time as well. So the way that I'll discuss this is the way that I typically end up doing it, but obviously you can do these spines in any order whatsoever that you would feel like in your own game. So the first spine challenge that I always try to do is the whistling one. So typically by this point in time, you'll get at least 1 whistling spawning in per round. Just keep executing, keep ripsawing him until you eventually get his purple glowing spine out of him. Then go back down to where the corpse gate was, give it to the monk head, and then you'll then walk around the whistling so he gets his perk order. Now, walking him around the map can be one of the most annoying things to do in this Easter egg, because in solo, obviously, the zombies move very, very fast, and they will just keep slapping you. And with the horrendous health regen system that is in World War II Zombies currently, well, it makes it literally a living hell to do this step in solo. But there are a few different things you can try to make it easier. For one thing, if you happen to have fog zombies spawned onto the map, the fog zombies will naturally always walk at a slow speed if you have 2 or 3 of them spawned in. So if you're lucky enough to have this, it makes your life very, very easy. Another thing you can try doing is whenever you then place the whistling spine into the blood container where the monk's head is at, if you have 2 or 3 regular zombies still left on the map, what you can try to do is to get 1 or 2 of these zombies to aggro onto the whistling. Because once a zombie aggroes onto the whistling, it is very, very hard to get them unaggroed. So then that way you just walk around. The whistling has enough health to where he's not going to die from being hit from one zombie, and you can walk around, and it's pretty simple. But for those who don't know how to do the whistling step in general, you have to walk him around to the following 4 perks, and he has to get them in this order. He has to get Kugel Blitz or double damage. He then has to get Faust Blitz, or melee damage, or Slappy Taffy. He then needs Laufen Blitz, or Stamina Up. And then he still needs Leben Blitz, or Quick Revive. Now he has to have them in that order, and as soon as he picks up the 4th correct one, he will then run into the waterfall, and then that's how you know you did it successfully. The key to this step is getting him past Laufen Blitz, or just to follow you in general if he starts going off track. If you see him start going the opposite direction or not following you, just shoot him with a bullet really quick. He'll stop, realize what he's doing is wrong, and then start following you again. Now, the next thing that I actually would do is, since there's still going to be 1 or 2 zombies left on the map, I go ahead and do the U-boat warships section with the artillery cannon. And as a side note, to speed things up a little bit, whenever I am walking the whistling around the map, after he buys the melee perk and is going towards Laufen Blitz or Stamina Up, I put the radio down at that point in time because Straub has a very long dialogue, which by the way is terribly subtitled with lots of misspellings. However, whenever he is walking around to the final couple perks, it lets this dialogue play through, so by the time that the whistling is done, his dialogue is almost finished and you're not just sitting there waiting for it to finish. Obviously, the way the warships section works is you just have to aim the giant artillery cannon at the warships out in the water, which for solo, you only have to destroy 2 instead of 3 like you do in co-op. But you go ahead, aim left and right, up and down, and you can use the map to the right to try to help you, but I find it better to just eyeball. But do that, destroy both warships, and then you can get back to the spine challenges. At this point, you have a very important decision to make. You now need to choose which weapon you want to pack a punch and take with you through the rest of the Easter egg and into the boss fight. There seems to be 3 weapons that most people who are also doing this solo seem to prefer, and are also very strong. They would choose the M1 Garand, there's the SVT, and then there is also the M1A1. After doing this Easter egg a few times while getting this recording and doing it on stream and everything, I personally feel like the best weapon in terms of ammo balance and damage balance would be the M1A1. But you can try it out, you can see which weapon you prefer the best, and you can go with those. So choose whichever weapon you would like to use, go ahead and pack a punch, and then we're now actually going to go grab that 3rd Son of Laertes and head down to the sacrifice room so we can finish the Whistling Spine challenge. So drop down into that room and go ahead and place the 3rd stun into the door. Now, typically, you would have the 3 Moishlas doing their ritual crazy dance thing to the statue of Laertes as soon as you open that door, and a lot of people freak out during the stage and they don't know how to handle it. However, since you're doing the spine ritual for the whistling, all these Moishlas will instantly die as soon as you enter the room, because the way that the game code works is whenever you start one of these rituals, all other zombies despawn on the map. So go ahead into this room, finish the ritual, kill all the whistlings, pick up the whistling head, and then leave the room because now we need to grab a pest spine so we can do the pest challenge. Hopefully at this point you are close to one of the 5-round intervals for a pest max ammo round, so that way you have plenty of chances to get your glowing spine from a pest. But if you're not, it's not that big of a deal. It's pretty easy to get a glowing spine out of a pest. Just go ahead, get that, and once you do, drop it off in the bucket next to the monk, and then you can actually start your pest spine challenges. If you're not sure how the pest spine challenge works, there are different colored panels all around the map. And what you have to do is, using the ripsaw, you have to bounce the ripsaw off of certain panels into the special sacrifice pest. And if doing this 5 times successfully, it then completes the challenge. It's not terribly difficult to do this. It's pretty simple. In terms of doing this in solo, the only thing I would really recommend is making sure that you keep the zombies off of the sacrifice pest. And it's not so much that the zombies do a lot of damage to the pest, but whenever you're shooting the ripsaw, and if the ripsaw is going through the pest whenever it is colored to complete one stage of the challenge, it can sometimes kill that last zombie, and going into the next round with this pest out, although it's not terribly difficult to still continue with the challenge, it can be a bit annoying. So you actually want to try to just keep the last zombie of a round aggroed onto you, so that way you can run around and get this all done pretty simple. Once you successfully do all 5 parts of the first spine challenge for the pest, do the same thing as the whistling and go back down to the sacrifice ritual arena. It will close the door, and then you just have to kill all the special pests that spawn in, pick up the pest head, and then leave the room. And now's when the real fun begins. We now must attempt to get a moistless spine and hope that it is charged. Which, by the way, it is really stupid that a moistless spine is not always guaranteed to have a charge. With how difficult it can be sometimes, this is something that really should change. However, we're going to look past that for now. We're not going to let that worry too much. And I'm going to show you my method for going one-on-one against a moistless. So that way it is the easiest chances of you actually being able to obtain your spine. How I recommend doing this is getting to the end of a round, save exactly the very last zombie. Now what you're going to want to do is with this last zombie, you're going to want to go into the sacrifice room. I think it's about every 60 seconds to 2 minutes. I don't know the exact timing for this. But for every 60 seconds to 2 minutes that you're in the sacrifice room, the game will force spawn a Moishla in, because it does not obviously want you sitting in that room to just camp for high rounds or whatever reasoning. So what you can do is whenever you hear the clicking of him spawning in the top hole of the roof, which he always spawns there, go ahead and kill that last zombie. Once you kill that last zombie, you have the 20 seconds between rounds to where it will be one-on-one with only you and the Moishla. So what I recommend doing is shooting him a little bit, and then once you shoot him a little bit, then just start charging him and hoping that you get a charged spine out of the Moishla. One thing you can even do is activate your front line for the charging thing, because front line does affect it, and it will make it even less melee hits for you to actually get the execution ripping out the spine animation. Once you get that charged spine though, you have made it through probably the second hardest part of this entire Easter egg. You should feel really good about yourself. Take the spine down to the monk head and drop it off in the bucket. Now for the spine challenge for the Moishla, it is simply a game of hide and seek. Fog will roll into the map, and you will hear what sounds like a Brenner just screaming in places all around the map. Just follow the screaming, and you will find this Moishla huddled up in the ball in various places. All you simply need to do is shoot him, and he will run to another location. You have to do this a total of 3 times, and then after you do that, you go back into the sacrifice room, and you have to kill that Moishla that spawns in, and then you pick up his head after you kill him. Once you do this, go back to the monk head, pick the monk head back up from the corpse gate, and then you gotta go back into the sacrifice room for the final ritual. This last ritual is not that bad at all. If you ever played Exo Zombies on Burger Town, it is exactly the same step that you had to do in there whenever you were filling up the blood around the golden skillet. Just kill zombies whenever in the blood pool, and eventually the cow skull that Laertes is holding will explode and the pommel will spawn. You then just need to pick up the pommel, and we're basically ready to go into the boss fight. Go back to the radio that you activated right before the warships section. Throw the pommel underneath of it, and then that is what activates the entrance to the boss fight, to where you simply just have to hold square on it. However, don't do this until you have at least a full charge of your class special, full ammo, and full armor, just to be as fully prepared as you can. Also, in terms of being prepared, you have another decision that you need to make. Do you want to take the pommel into the boss fight, which is my personal decision, or you can also take Jack-in-the-Boxes. They both are very useful and act in different ways though. One is more defensive and one is more offensive. You just kind of have to choose whichever best fits your personal play strategy. Once you feel all prepared though, go back to the radio, hold square, and then you go into what is considered the hardest thing of this Easter egg in solo, which it is, but really it's only the U-boat section that's actually difficult. But anyway, I'm going to go through each section and give my best advice as to surviving through each section for it. One overall piece of advice for this boss fight is just be doing as much damage as you can as often. Each phase progresses once you have dealt enough damage to all of the super Moishlas overall. So obviously the more damage you deal, the faster through a phase you get through, and especially in the U-boat section, the less headaches you end up having overall, as wondering why you keep tormenting yourself through this pain. A couple more pieces of advice overall for the boss fight is 1, don't stop moving. Especially in the U-boat section, if you stop moving, those Moishlas are just going to hit you hard. And obviously, health regen is really bad in World War II zombies. So you get hit once and you're gritting your teeth, hoping that a bad hitbox from a Wussling does not hit you whatsoever and just downs you. So you want to keep moving, keep avoiding as much as you can. Also, do not be afraid to use your pommels. Pommels keep recharging infinitely. There's no reason to not use them as often as you can. Now, sadly, at the time of me making this video, they can still glitch out occasionally to where they don't even do anything anymore. If that happens, I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do to fix it. So hopefully it doesn't happen, but definitely make use of them while you can. They are extremely helpful, and they basically work as like 2 shock grenades in one, instantly killing any regular zombies inside of them. So the way that the boss fight works as well is that there are 4 sections. You first go onto the beach, and this is where you start. They throw the moistureless at you one at a time with fog, and there's also zombies on the beach. Again, keep moving, keep doing as much damage as you can, and you can get through this phase pretty simply, pretty quickly, and you're not going to struggle that much. Now, this second phase is probably the worst balanced section of a boss fight I have personally ever encountered. I understand there being difficulty, and there wanting to be difficulty in a boss fight. I get that 100%. But the balance of the Whistling's hitboxes, the Moishla's hitboxes, the saw blades that they can snipe with you across the map, and the random fire that spits up sometimes way too fast before it even gives you the correct indicator that a tile is about to light up on fire, is terribly balanced amongst all of these aspects. And especially for solo, when they're still throwing regular zombies at you on top of that, and then sometimes 2 to 3 moistureless at the same time, there's not much advice I can give you to guarantee you through this section every time whatsoever. You just have to kind of get lucky, keep moving, pay attention, and Godspeed to you, and hopefully you can get through it. One quick thing is, if you get through the second section of this, before you leave into the third section, if you go up the stairs to where you can get the ripsaw, there is a Uberladen drop sitting there that you can pick up before going to the third section. Now, the third section is up at the artillery gun. It's all fog, but it's a pretty large area that you can run. And not only that, you can also have the armor buy inside of the artillery gun bunker that you can just keep repurchasing. So again, you keep running, keep moving, do damage as fast and as often as you can, and you'll be fine for this section. Now, onto the very last section, which is back to the beach. They throw all of the moistureless at you at once, and they'll just keep spawning in and out until you can do enough damage overall to get you through the phase. Now, you do not need to actually kill all of them, and I don't understand why. It doesn't make full sense to me, but you just need to do enough damage. And if you do enough damage, then congrats, you have now done the solo Easter egg, and Lord, you have made it through one of the most terrible things that you could possibly do. So congrats to you, and hopefully this guide has helped you out in achieving this, and now you can go show off that you've done this Easter egg solo. Again, in all seriousness, hopefully this guide has helped you out in some type of way, and if you did enjoy my solo main Easter egg guides, let me know, and this will start being my version of doing main Easter egg guides for every Easter egg from now on. So feel free to let me know how I did, let me know if it helped you out, feel free to join the Discord even if you have any more questions in regards to Easter eggs or completing this Easter egg even, and hopefully someone will be able to help you out. But I love you guys, and until the next video, I'll see you later.